Here we go. All right, so this is, let me get it started. There you go. All right, so this is my brief bio. Hey friends, what's up? I'm Nekia Nichelle, your media personality, digital educator, coach, influencer. I'm a entertainment and lifestyle reporter, expert, TV host, and pop culture commentator. Like Linda said, you probably may have seen me on TV One, TMZ, ABC, Fox, WGN, News Nation here in Chicago. I also run my own boutique media company, Nekia Nichelle LLC, which focuses on digital as well as broadcast, lifestyle, and entertainment content creation.
All right, so a little brief bio of me. You could obviously kind of read a little bit what's there, but I'll kind of give you just a run through of that. A little bit about my business career. Shortly after high school, when I was 21 years old, I started my own construction company, remodeling kitchens and bathrooms. This was, of course, back in like 2007, 2008, right before the Great Recession. And shortly after that happened, the business was gone. So I pivoted. I joined the Marine Corps at that time. I served my time in the Marine Corps. When I got out, I went back to school to get my business degree. And since then, I've joined the company here with Nekia, as well as started my own real estate investment company called FreeFi Capital. We invest in small multi-units for long-term rentals and to provide housing for people here in Chicagoland.
All right. I love your quote though, when it says he has realized you're never done learning unless you want to stop growing, which I think is so true. I think at any point in our lives, we can learn something new, which will help us evolve into better people. So to tell you a little bit about Nekia Nichelle LLC, it's a company and a personality, meaning myself, that has gone through so many evolutions. So right now we're on the boutique digital media outlet side, and then we have the influencer and educational side, which is me. But we do broadcast, lifestyle segments, which I am the lifestyle expert with that, as well as entertainment coverage. Just interviewed Michael B. Jordan. I do have to mention this, guys, because that was such a great interview. and Jonathan Majors, two huge A-list actors. That is probably a great career hike for me at this very moment. And content creation. I really love focus on digital content creation. So as Drake says, started from the bottom. Hey, okay, so let me take you through my journey and how I've gotten to this point, and now I'm here. In 2007, I decided I had met someone along the way, and we built a media production company similar to what I'm doing now. I was the co-creator and founder of it. It's called Flair TV. And her and I were doing that for 4 years. This was way before like YouTube became YouTube and became a thing. We were on to really something wonderful. And then boom, it didn't really go too well. After 4 years, her and I decided to split. And that's where I was in my life road, like, okay, should I go this way or should I go that way? And a lot of people were like, you're really good at this. You should continue moving forward and continue going down the path. But I wasn't quite sure, was I doing this right? A lot of it, I mean, we had gotten within that 4 years an interview with Angela Bassett, because she did her thing just recently. I've gotten an interview, within that 4 years with Queen Latifah, Robin Thicke. I mean, some really huge names in the entertainment industry. And so I knew that I was able to utilize my resources to secure these interviews, but I just didn't know if I was doing this correctly, right? So that's when I decided to attend Illinois Media for Broadcast, or Illinois Center. I call it ICB. That's what Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Thank you. There I go. So I decided to attend that. It was a trade school, and I felt like, okay, this is perfect because it wasn't taking up a lot of my time. I still had free time to do all the things that I was doing, that I had gained the knowledge for the past 4 years. So that past 4 years really helped me experience-wise. And while I was at ICB, a lot of people recognized that and saw that, and they were like, you know, excuse my language, but they were like, oh, wow, you really have your shit together. And that, and just, you know, presenting myself in a very professional manner allowed me to make the connections that I needed to make in order to level up. So I started working for iHeartMedia as a traffic reporter for, you know, GCI V103, KISS FM. I also was doing traffic and news over at WVON for a little bit. And then in 2015, you know, radio's cool, and don't get me wrong. I loved what I gained knowledge-wise when I was in radio, but my passion was really TV. I absolutely love being in front of the camera. I am very comfortable with it. So I decided, well, you know, I want to continue on and gain as much experience as I can when it comes to TV. So in 2015, I started doing lifestyle segments, because then that continued to grease the wheel. So I wouldn't forget, you know, I can continue to hone my skill in front of the camera. So then in 2019, after working 6 years in radio, I was like, you know what? I definitely want to see about going into TV full time and see what that feels like for me. I'm only used to moonlighting and going in, doing a segment for 3 to 4 minutes. Get in and get out of there, right? And I didn't know how it felt to be in a newsroom. What does that feel like? Does that match my vibe? And I landed my first news anchor job. I want to say it was like the end of 2018.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And so timeline might be a little skewed. Don't judge me. Look,
either way, I think it lasted less than a year.
Yeah, it did. It didn't last long because, again, I got to the news station and I realized, like, this is not my jam. I am not used to being contained or controlled in one area. And news is not for everyone. I mean, they're talking about death, murder, kill. I'm more of like, let's laugh, let's have a little fun, let's, you know, so entertainment and lifestyle was more of what I was drawn to. So around the time when COVID hit, that is when I decided to say no more 9-to-5s for me. Plus we were in the situation where we couldn't. And I went ahead and just embraced digital divahood. And so this is where I'm at today. In 2021, I took my entrepreneurship seriously. And that's how I'm now running my own media outlet and production company, still trying to grow. But I'm living out my dreams and manifesting some big ones, baby. So why Nekia Nichelle LLC was created. So I really want to take the time out to read this full quote because it's so true. So after spending more than a decade working the nonstop grind of early mornings, late nights, all with a constant smile on my face, to fulfill a goal of becoming a national TV host, I was tired AF. My requests for a seat at the table were met with a resounding no's. Instead of looking for a seat at the table, you guys, I needed to create my own damn dining set. And that is where we are at today. That is what I'm doing.
Yeah, so if I could just add something in on that. In 2023 today, you don't have to rely on broadcast. You don't have to rely on these other channels. So you are allowed, you have a lot more freedom today to create your own space and own your own brand, whether it be on social platforms or whatever platform you find, or your own website or whatever. So you should, even if you have like a traditional job, you should still be building your own brand because of the freedom and the access that we have today. And it just allows for that, and why not?
Why not?
Right.
And you can set your own path, and that's what I have. When I started this, that's what I did, and I continue to push forward and be in places that people thought I would never be able to attain. And it's kind of like, you doubted me, but but not looking at not looking at it as a negative, as a positive. I've learned so much along the way.
Let it be fuel. Right?
It is fuel.
Right.
So it's definitely fuel, to my little fire. But the COVID effect. So as you know, with COVID, it pushed everyone into this digital space, and that was great for me because I was already there and I already had the setup, I already had the equipment. While big news stations were scrambling, trying to figure out how are they going to put their content up, I already had it.
They were calling you.
They were calling me. Yeah.
Other places we went into,
they
reaching back. How do we do it?
How do we do it?
Yeah.
And so then that allowed me to become a resource and an authority. But with the Great Resignation became a huge boost in entrepreneurship. And that's when I decided to, just take a leap of faith, even though I was already, doing the things. Just really solidify that, okay, I'm going to create my own business.
Yeah, of course. And now, of course, creating your own business, you come into obstacles, right? And especially as a creative, as more in the creator mindset, sometimes it's harder to grasp the understanding of how to systematize, how to structure, and to really put your things in a box. As a creative, you want everything outside the box. You want it all over the place. You want paint on the walls. You want everything. But in order to create a company and create something that you could bring other people into that can grow, and that's where you can start to delegate, you need to be able to tell them what to do. So then you kind of have to build out some systems and
that's where
and
you
the structures, right? Yes. So this is where I come in.
He took me from messy to methods. That's where you came in.
Yeah. So of course, then my background in the Marine Corps, of course, helps. It's a whole system in itself, a whole structure that's had hundreds of years to develop. So it builds your mind to be able to see more of the structures and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of see how everything's worked and start to put everything kind of into a box and, kind of start to clean out your closet you had there.
Yeah. But right? Sometimes I hate boxes.
Yes,
it was a fight.
Yes. So then of course with that is securing the bag, now leaving your W-2 and now just fully embracing entrepreneurship. You have to figure out ways to monetize. How can you monetize, of course, because everybody needs to live, right? So we've gone through different evolutions throughout the years as that goes too, securing the bag. And then the last little slide we have here, finding help to level up the business. As a small business, as you grow, sometimes your resources are limited, and you have to find other places to find these resources to scrap and get by. And then as you grow, you can add the pieces as you go. So some of the ways that we've leveraged freelancers. We, offboard as much as we can to ease our load to where we can focus more on the business and not in the business. So between freelancers, virtual assistants, and then the internships we developed as well, that provides, students like you guys to come on board, have experience, and then there's a great value exchange. You learn, and then, we get to teach you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. Paying it forward. Okay, so to kind of give you guys a little bit more, because I know earlier I mentioned that I broke the company up in two. So Nekia Nichelle LLC, if you go to my website now, you will see that it's really heavily focused on being an influencer, doing more speaking engagements like I'm here doing today, being an educator, coaching other people that aspire to learn how to become more of a digital influencer, or just how to level up their branding. Branding is a whole thing. And a lot of times you think you know, but you really don't know. And the best way to learn or be better is through someone helping you and getting private coaching or taking courses. So that's where the in brand comes from. It is a more more of my business that's focusing on helping people build their brand. And then I'm so happy about the new launch of my digital media website called justinlife.com. So I discontinued posting blogs on nekianichelle.com, and justinlife.com is where all the entertainment and lifestyle content goes now. And it's so great because not only, you know, with the website, we've launched a podcast. We do the celebrity interviews there. We have lifestyle content there, product placement for brands to, you know, boast whatever products and services that they have. And what's even more exciting, it gives other aspiring writers a place to call home, to, you know, contribute and learn more. So there, it's so robust. I'm so excited and happy for it. And why are you tapping me?
Oh no, because I wanted to say something on that side.
Okay.
So as you go along through your business, you might come to a point where you see that you're building everything out and there are two distinct sides.
Yeah.
So in order to have clarity in messaging, you need to separate the two. So that's kind of the point that we got to. We saw that the influencing and then the entertainment, they were kind of getting muddled, and then they needed to separate themselves to where then they could grow to their full capacity. And they start to develop kind of two different target audiences.
Yeah.
To where then you need to kind of have a separate message for each, to where you can continue to speak to your audience in a full breath.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, words of advice that I want to give everyone is and it's so important to discover what makes your heart sing, your soul soar, and your toes do that little tippy tap of excitement because you found your thing, baby. So number one, I know these may be cliche, but they're so true, right? So number one, believe in yourself. I'm not gonna lie to you. There are days that I'm like, help, but I don't know, you know. But at the end of the day, I believe that what I'm doing and what I'm putting out to the world is amazing. I try to do my interviews with a little bit of more fun and laughter, something that I'm giving the viewer a different side, and I believe that a lot of people love to see that. Number two, set your own values. This industry can kind of trample over you a little bit. It's up to you to be able to put your foot down and be like, no, I know what I'm worth, and really understand that, you know, you've put a lot of time and money into ensuring that you're the best professional, you know, media personality, and don't let anybody bring you down here. Always set your own value, make sure you're believing in yourself. You got this. You are doing the thing because you're here right now. So You're even investing in you.
You're doing number 4.
You're doing number 4.
There you go, taking action.
But taking a look at number 3, big dreams plus small steps. So I have huge dreams, right? And it's always about, you know, hurry up and wait. You know, I feel like I'm always waiting for the moment. But even though I'm waiting for the moment, I am taking small, actionable steps to get to that dream. I never would have thought that I would have been interviewing Michael B. Jordan, okay, for Creed. And woo, yes. So just small steps, whatever it is, it may not seem like it's working at the moment, but you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who is keeping an eye on your work. So just make sure you're taking small steps in the right direction. I know you want to add something.
Yeah. So as far as small steps go, when I was growing up, we'd always eat dinner as a family, and my mom would always worry about us choking. So she would always tell us, No, it has a point. It has a point. So she would always tell us small bites and chew good.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So in your career, in your personal life, in whatever area of life you have it, in the era of instant gratification, sometimes we have to step back and realize small bites and chew good, and you'll get there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you won't choke.
Yeah. You from the choke. And then the last one is take action. So, don't just sit there. No one's going to come knocking at your door. I mean, you're great, but not that great, guys. There's so many other people that are doing the work and putting in the work to take action. So you just want to make sure that you're moving. I'm always kind of antsy when I feel things are stagnant. I have to be making some type of moves, whatever it is, whatever that looks like, whether that's building a website, getting your branding together, taking classes, going to webinars, something. Right. It's actionable. It's something that I did that I can write on paper and say, yeah, I've done this, X, Y, and Z. And
actions come in many forms, right?
Actions come in so many forms. So now I encourage you guys to take out your phones. I hope you're not on your phone because that would be a little weird. I don't know how you would manage that. But at the end of the day, this is a QR code to say hello and connect with me. I love connecting with people and seeing how, maybe that they can be a part of, what I'm doing. But in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and open it up so you guys can ask questions. Ask away, because now is the time. And I can stop presenting. There we go. I hope I'm still in.
So I just want to say that was an excellent job. So inspiring. It was really wonderful. For everybody, there's a lot of people on. If you want to raise your hand, we'll call on you or place a question in the chat. That would be great. Now's your chance. Who's got that deep question they've been dying to ask?
Don't be scared.
Empty the thoughts.
Empty the thoughts. How could we be so quiet?
Linda, most of them, honestly, some might have mics disabled. So if you raise your hand, go ahead and use up top. There is a raise hand icon. Please click that and I would be happy to disable or enable your mic and call on you.
Yeah,
I did see Holly's hand up. Yeah. I don't know if, Holly, if you had a question. If not, we can jump to some other people. Oh, Holly, you're first up. So let me get you some mic access. Give me 1 second. And you should be able to jump in with your question.
Yay. I'm also a alumni. Hello, good evening. But when it comes to instant gratification, and when you talk about taking those small bites, I think when you first step foot in the door and you step foot in the door in that media school, you're so eager and you're so excited, even like through every project, as we both know. But if you could talk more, shed light on that instant gratification for our crowd.
So I will talk about how when I started going to Illinois Center for Broadcasting, you have this, and I hate to say misconception, but it kind of is that immediately you're going to be on the radio and all the TV shows are going to be calling you, and it's not like that. Right. It takes time for people to warm up to you. It takes time for people to warm up to your work. I have been doing this for so long. As you saw, I started in 2007, right? And you see other people that may go viral.
We were just talking about that today.
We were just talking about that. Where we're now in this like viral this, viral that, type of world. And it's hard for those that are trying to do things, quote unquote, the right way is what I would call it. I'm not out here creating gossip or this is the tea and listen, I have nothing against people that's what they want to do. But you do have to remember that when you want to take that route, which to me is more the quick route, There's a lot that comes with that. You may not be invited to the interview with Michael B. Jordan because you're going to be there trying to start drama and finding the tea. So it may exclude you when you try to take the shortcuts. And for me, I felt like I wanted to grow, what are they, slow and low, or what is it?
Low and slow.
Low and slow, or whatever it is.
Like a good barbecue.
Like a good old barbecue. But just taking my time to grow, because then I am able to make those missteps along the way and correct it. It doesn't have to, I'm not at a point where I'm viral and everybody's seeing my mistakes, or everybody's seeing, that I'm not, emotionally or mentally there. Because I mean, you do, throughout my journey, there's times where it's like people are driving me crazy. And I'm not talking about people that I'm working amongst. I'm talking more about, like, sometimes, whoever's manager, or a station, or whatever. There's all kind of egos in this industry. So but it allowed for me to be better and do better, and not have eyes all on me while I'm going through that process. And then I'm able to refine and tweak things, and I think become a little bit more educated and have a good reputation within that too.
Yeah.
You want to add?
Yeah, so if I were to add anything, I would just add one word, and that's consistency.
Yeah.
A discussion we were having earlier, a lot of people like, okay, let's go viral, like talking about digital and social media and stuff. Like, I want to make a viral video, viral. That's like the key word you always hear. But a lot of times, like, you can't just curate a viral video. Possibly some people can, or it is possible, right? But for most of us, we're not creating viral videos one after another. It's just consistency. Just keep posting and you'll grow and you'll get there. Just keep posting, stay consistent. Whatever consistency is for you, just keep that pace up. And the days when you don't want to, do it anyway.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I hope that answered.
That was great advice. Thank you both. Yeah. I see Habib has his hand up. Let me just get the unmute. All right, Habib, go ahead and jump in with your question. You should be able to yeah, and if he can't, I will, we've got some questions in the chat, and we've got some other hands raised as well.
Hey, Huda, he put his question in the chat. Habib put his question in the chat, so we could catch it through there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, in the past I tried to, engage with the community, and I started off at some point with radio where there wasn't much of the camera on my face. And then now that I'm trying to build a bridge between, the African American community and the immigrants in America, I don't know. I don't want to call it fear, but there's some sort of, contemplation that I'm having with, stepping out and gradually building that, engagement with the community. How do you overcome that initial drag, when you're trying to deal with sensitive issues around the community you're trying to engage?
Yeah. So that's a really good question.
If I were to give any advice, I would say meet them where they're at. That means location and comfortability level.
Yeah.
That is a very tough topic because you're dealing with, they feel their personal security, and most of the time the personal security is involved, right? So in order to give a voice with a voice that our culture kind of suppresses, I would say the best way is to meet them where they're at, because there is power in numbers. Yeah,
so for me, because I try to stay away from like political and I conflict with that too. Just because a lot of times views, and when your social views or your political views can now affect your business. I try to make it more centered on the message that I'm trying to put out there versus what my personal thoughts are on the subject matter, and just try to let my work speak for itself. And also maybe to try to figure out ways of what your audience wants to hear, whether that's through creating like surveys, saying, hey guys, you know, comment below and let me know if this is something that you want me to talk about. You know, is this something that you want to delve deeper into? You know, building a community is hard because there needs to be that trust there. And I think that if you have that trust, that's key, and that's going to be more helpful than just throwing whatever out there and seeing if it sticks, you know. Once you create that trust, then they trust you enough to know that whatever messaging that you're putting out there is coming from a good place. Right. You know, so I think it starts with the trust, and whether that is having, you know, you put out a disclaimer like, look, I just want these two communities to come together. That's my main goal. That's my mission. And whatever that looks like and whatever it takes. And then finding other people that align with that mission, right? And align with what you're doing, to where maybe you can tap into their audience and see how you guys can like work together on a project. So, I hope that helped. I hope that wasn't too.
That was a tough question, but I think you guys did a great job. Yeah, providing some input.
Yeah, that's a hard spot. I have several people in that community close to me, and yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to take some questions from the chat, and then we'll come back to the hands that are raised. Sammy's asking if you guys attended business school. I don't remember if you mentioned that as you were going through or not. And if you did,
yeah, so that's me.
Okay.
Yeah, I did go through business school, but what I will say, you don't always have to go through traditional school. I took a long time to go through business school. I'm actually still in my last semester, and most of my education that I've gotten for business has not come from that school.
It's come from
me. No, but really, actual experience in the field, as well as, you know, you guys are going to a trade school. Trade schools are very valuable. You don't have to go to a 4-year university. YouTube University can teach you so much. There's been a lot of times I've learned things in college courses, and then I had to re-educate myself through YouTube just to later on find out that I learned it in a college course. So I think it says you need to be exposed to something 7 times before you really absorb it. So don't always think you have to go to a 4-year university or get your MBA or anything like that in order to achieve the knowledge. There's countless examples of people who dropped out of college and are very successful.
Yeah,
you know,
I did.
Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in a second. It's Linda here, but I talk to employers every single day. And the first thing they say, it's about the skills, being able to talk about your skills, being kind, and being able to go into a situation with integrity. There's so much training that takes place on a job or in your own business. Your reps are going to make you stronger at what you do. But if your intent is in the right place, you know, even relating back to that question about moving within certain communities, you do have to be cautious. It's interesting to see your 2 different perspectives, right? Because you have to decide who you are, what your brand is before you even step in that lane. Okay, I'm giving it back to you.
Yes, no, so true. It's all about branding and positioning and what your brand message is. I try to, you know, like, if you come to my page, I'm not talking about tea and all of that. Like, that's just not what I want to put out there. I want to put out there things that's going to make people like lighter side of news and messaging, and that's going to celebrate people that are in the arts. We all know, being even as a creative in digital or broadcast, it is hard. Being a creative is hard. And damn it, I don't, want to make it harder for them. And who I'm saying, whatever musician or actor or whatever, let's celebrate people's wins. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Could always use more smiles.
Thank you. That's great. All right. Lenville is asking, what do you look for when it comes to prospective clients? What makes them right for your brand?
Culture fit.
Yeah.
I would say first and foremost is culture fit. If we're going to represent you as a brand, you have to match our brand and you have to match our culture. If those alignments aren't there, it goes back to community. We won't come across as authentic. It'll look like a money grab. Money grabs are always obvious, and that'll ruin your credibility really quick, and that'll ruin your following and
trust.
Back to the trust.
Yeah. Culture, huge.
Awesome. Thank you. I see, let's see. Betty has her hand raised. Just a second, Betty, let me allow the mic. All right, Betty, if you want to jump in with your question. Guys, we do only have about just a little over 15 minutes though, and I want to try and get through as many questions between the chat and the hands raised. So I'm going to ask, if I call on you, please just quickly answer your question and then mute yourself so that we can get it answered and move on to the next one. All right, Betty, you're up.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you. Yep.
Awesome. I know you mentioned you took step by step. I've been through a lot of struggle and been trying to break through, and it's just been through community things and everything and just trying to get this business up. I already had one brand and I'm making another. Is there any advice that you could give me on how to start without a lot of money? Because like I said, it's been a struggle, but I've been trying to get through it. And networking, I've been networking. I'm just trying to get a production together. So any advice would be great.
Are you gonna?
Oh, I was just gonna ask for a little more. What industry are you in?
I'm wanting to be in entertainment. Honey, please get out of the room. I'm sorry, my toddler just.
Okay,
yeah. That's you then.
Yeah. So Betty, just to let you know, like when I started, I had no money. We were, trying to make ends meet with the best way that we could. What ended up happening was a lot of people believed in us. We were two Black women trying to create a production company. They were calling us the, chocolate twins, or I forget the name that they were calling us, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Let me get to the point really quickly. So a lot of times, honestly, you have to be an octopus. And what I mean by that is I learned how to do web design, graphic design. I know how to work the camera. So I know how to be behind the scenes. I know how to be in front of the scenes. I also know how to do branding really well. I know how to do my own hair, my own makeup, like all the things. And it isn't, how can I say this? So what ended up happening with me is I got my first celebrity interview, which was Nelly. And what ended up happening in that situation was no one wanted to come out. ABC7, now you have to keep in mind, ABC7, NBC, CBS, all of those are news stations. They're not trying to cover entertainment. They do have entertainment reporters from time to time, but if they're busy on another, event or something like that, so Lisa E from Power 92, I don't think she works there anymore, but she was like, I need some media people. Can y'all come out and cover Nelly's, baseball event and interview Nelly and the whole St. Lunatics? And I'm like, is she for real?
Yes.
Why is this even a question?
Yeah.
So what'll happen is, and I know you said you've been networking. Sometimes you've been networking, but not with the right people, unfortunately. And I hate to say just put yourself out there more, but literally that is what I've done and continue to do, is put myself out there more and put myself in front of people that make the decision, because I always say if someone's telling you no, you're speaking to the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's my goal. There's still, I'm not like, there's still some finances that I need behind me in order to make it bigger. But I think that will come when I'm creating good content.
Yeah. So to speak to what you just kind of said, the revenue, you also have to remember your revenue does not always have to come through or from your motive. So you could have a revenue generator and lean into that, but still go the direction you want and have one feed the other.
Right. Yeah.
So not to get like too dry in the business of it, but understand your production process and your bottlenecks, because your problems might not even be the problems that you perceive. And then if you can identify where the bottlenecks are, you can identify the problem better and correct it. And that might free up the whole workflow, where you're seeing that the problem might be here or there, and it might not even recognize it. You might know all of this already and have it done, but that's just kind of more some general advice to identify bottlenecks to fix the actual problem. And then, as well, lean into what's working, and you never know where your business is going to go. Like we went through with the presentation, Nekia Nichelle has changed several times over the years. Yes. And just lean into what's working, but always have that ultimate dream, that ultimate vision, and allow one to feed the other.
Because I want to be, one more thing, Betty, and I promise we can move on to the next question. But I do want to be very candid with you guys. If you are looking to move into the entertainment space, it's very hard to monetize your the monetization of entertainment. It's difficult.
The value doesn't have to come from the dollar. With other like celebrity things in the entertainment space, the value might come from the eyeballs that it attracts. And then once you attract those eyeballs from the entertainment, because entertainment attracts eyeballs, period, then you can bring in the other, revenue. And that's also why we would suggest to lean into more digital space. Digital space gives you a lot more freedom and a lot more ways to garner that revenue. If you're putting your interviews on broadcast or somewhere else, that value is not with you. It's where you're putting it. They're getting the ad revenue from there, and ad revenue is moving increasingly more away from broadcast to digital.
You are so smart.
I appreciate that.
I think
guys.
that's great.
Really
and you guys
do.
actually mentioned a couple. You guys actually mentioned a couple things as you were answering that question that came up in the chat also. So you mentioned networking. And someone asked about purposeful networking, like where do you go? And then someone also asked that you kind of briefly mentioned, how do you turn that no into a yes? And they might go hand in hand, but if you can touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of times in my mind, when I hear no, it means, okay, no, not right now. Or it means no, okay, she's not the one I need to speak to. And there are times where I've had a no, and you may want to ask the person, if you have the ability to. I don't know what the relationship is, but if someone's telling you no, you can maybe say, can you give me some advice on how to turn this yes into a no, or this no into a yes? So just figuring out ways to improve yourself so that the next time that you present yourself and you're asking, there could be a solid yes. Always kind of waiting for your time, like waiting, it's like, dang it, I don't want to wait. Like, I got to eat now. I want to get the bag now. But sometimes waiting could be in your favor, because like I said earlier, it gives you time to improve and tweak and make the adjustments that you need to make. I, as Clint just said, have evolved tenfold. I've made changes and tweaks in order to, make sure that if I am faced with a brand, how can we be better? They feel like my numbers are low. Clint asked, okay, well, what's that marker? Where is the numbers where you would be doling out cash? Where does that look like? So we can have an idea of where to reach.
Get that no to a yes.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So there's different techniques and things approaches that I take when someone tells me no.
Yeah. So if I were to turn a no to a yes, I would offer 3 words.
3, just only 3 now.
Okay. Problem.
Problem.
Friction. Solution.
Okay. That's it.
Those,
No,
I can't say nothing else.
You said 3 words.
So those are the 3 words. Now I'll expand upon them. Problem is a pain point. Identify the pain point. Point it out to them several times before you even offer the solution. And then once you offer the solution, also point out how it's frictionless. And because as soon as they hear the solution, they're going to be like, well, I got to do this. They're going to start thinking about all the work tied to it. So point out the solution and then also show them how you have made it frictionless to get to that solution. Yeah. And I think there was another question within that.
Well, we're running out of time. These people want to know.
If I could say one thing, there was a question that came up in the chat that I wanted to address. Somebody did say they had an audio podcast and then they were trying to figure out how to like build upon that. I personally feel that podcasts are the content king right now. And if you just have an audio podcast, you are underutilizing your ability. You need to record that podcast, put that on YouTube to where now you have the video, you already have the audio, and then also then fragment that long form into short forms to where you can continue to get promotionals, and that one piece of recording can continually pay
it forward. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yes. Yeah. Having that one piece of content that you can use multiple times.
Yes.
On social media. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. These social platforms are too demanding. We can't keep up. So we got to feed it somehow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. We've got a couple questions still in the chat. So Dominique, I just allowed your mic. If you want to unmute and ask your question, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Yes. This meeting is actually so very informational. Thank you guys. But my question is, so when it comes to interviewing, doing interviews or coming to an event, or especially if it's like a big event or a well-known event, as coming in as media, like if you're a filmer or or a photographer and you have like your own team, like for instance, by me being in Illinois Media School, I've partnered up with a very nice digital team already that has been doing that has been doing photography and videography before they even got in school. All the great equipment, very state-of-the-art equipment. So if we're coming in as an event, I know I was told that we would have to call like that certain event and get credentials to become under media, right? So if we're doing that, not only that it will give us exposure when we get great footage and great interviews from that certain event, but how do we turn that into possibly getting revenue from that, if possible?
Yeah, so we kind of touched on that. Who it would be, you have to ask yourself, who are you trying to get revenue from?
Okay.
So do you know who you would be trying to get revenue from?
So I guess, well, once we get different footages and stuff, and then I guess we build our, or add to our already different projects that we have, and I guess get noticed more from, like you say, it depends on, somebody might see that and say, oh, they was at Lollapalooza and they took that work. Oh, that's great. Oh, we'd like to call them and see if they'd like to do our event. And then they may offer revenue for that. So I guess I know for sure that's one way.
Yeah,
right?
So that is one way. Another way is like if you've built enough of an audience, you can then ask for ad dollars from certain, like Coca-Cola or, I don't know, Gatorade or something like that, where you could say, listen, we've interviewed this one. We've been at this event. We have this many clicks per, blog post or whenever we post this. This is our social media numbers, because it's all about the numbers, honestly. Yeah. This day and age. Right. It doesn't matter the who anymore, because before it would be like, oh, well, I got Beyonce and I got this one. Okay, that's great and all, but what does your numbers look like? So that's always going to be, especially when you're talking to ad dollars, that's always going to be the question. However, if you're trying to go in as like, well, we can come out and do event photography or coverage, and then you pay us as a production team to come out and get photos and video, that would be like whoever the event coordinator is at the event, that you would say, look, this is the services that we offer. And that's something that you negotiate, whether you're negotiating like services and then I need to guarantee interview with X, Y, and Z. Okay. That's something that, you know, you write up in the contract, but monetizing your content is kind of like in your hands. I currently monetize on YouTube, nearly not enough of, you know, what I would like to be making, but it is monetizing it in some way, shape, or fashion, right? So monetizing your content on digital, and then finding how you can also double down on that with brands to say like, look, I got this interview, these are my numbers. What do you want to advertise?
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm going to cut you short. We've got two more questions in about 3 minutes. So Stella, go ahead and jump in with your question. Stella, you should be able to unmute your mic and jump in.
Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey.
Hello, this is Stella Girl in the house.
Hey,
yes, I am a alumni of Ohio Media School. I just graduated in August of last year. Mine is more so of a statement than anything else. I've been listening to everybody, and the one thing that Nikita, what you said earlier, is like when you go to these schools and everything, you have an expectation, but us have an expectation of what we think that we're supposed to learn and what we're supposed to do is totally just what it is. It's an expectation that we have to do the work. We have to be willing to go out there and lay it on the line. I did my whole year last year from Stella Girl Radio podcast. Stella Girl is always someplace all the time for free. I did all my work for free. And now people are noticing me. Now people are asking me to come to their events. They're asking me to be on my podcast to promote, you know, their events. And when I travel, I take my show on the road with me. You know, I'm sitting on the deck of Virgin Voyages. Y'all, this is the bomb, you know, this and the other. And it's all about who you are as an individual. I bring the bubbly. I bring all of the positivity. I try to make sure that people understand that you are not alone. Not in anything that you do, not in anything that you want, you are not alone. So, you know, whatever the content you put out of there, think about somebody else and whether or not that touches them, whether you made somebody smile, whether you pull somebody out of a hole, whether you made somebody understand that, listen, your time may be dark right now, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So you need to keep walking and keep understanding that as long as you keep moving, you're not a quitter. And it doesn't happen overnight. Y'all got to work.
I'm sorry. We love you. We love you, Stella. I do have to cut you short, though. But we do love our Stella Girl here at OMS. All right. I know Dawn has a question. Dawn has a question, but I just really quickly want to say I did drop the digital business card in the chat for those of you that did not have your phones when Nekia had it up on the screen. So make sure to check it out there. I'm sure you guys are going to think of a lot of questions as you go through. When you click on that blink.me digital business card, every way you could possibly connect is right there. So make sure to save that and use it. And then Dawn, I'm going to get you in here to ask your question and we're going to wrap things up. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, first of all, I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much. My question is, how do you turn a yes into a no? when you're working with somebody and you realize that they're not established like you thought you were. That's all. Sorry for that.
Can she repeat that?
Go ahead, Dawn. I know I couldn't hear it either. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Oh.
And you know what?
It's hard to
maybe put it in the chat.
It's hard to hear you, but
Rashad, stop it now. Stop it, Rashad Campbell. Now you know you ain't right.
Yes.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Can you hear it? You see it in the chat?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Try one more time.
So the yes to a no, is that what you're asking?
Yes, and thank you guys so much for everything.
Oh, yeah, I think we
kind of covered that a little
bit about
early.
that.
Yeah. I guess to just kind of reiterate and
give her the 3 words.
You
don't remember the 3 words? There you go. One more.
Friction, solution.
There you go.
Problem, friction, solution. Yeah.
You covered how to say, I want to turn a yes into a no. When you commit to something and you see that their establishment is not what it seems, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to work for this person because they're a mess. How do you turn
I see. Okay, I got you. A lot of times, so I mean, to be really real with you, when I went to Rockford, I was so excited, y'all. Like I was like, oh my God, yes, I'm gonna go. And what hurt me the most was that Rockford did not have a lot of Black news anchors. I was their morning news anchor. I was waking up with these people in the community, and I would get emails all the time telling me, oh my God, you're such an inspiration to my daughter. She wakes up with you in the morning. You're so funny. You're so fun. It's so great to see a Black woman on this station. We don't have this a lot. And within the first 2 weeks, I had gotten my red flag of working there. There was so much drama. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I should stay here. But the news director was like, no, it's not like this. We promise. No, this is such a fluke and blah, 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 blah. So despite my better judgment, I stayed there. And I'm such a huge like manifestation and affirmations, all the things. Like probably 3 months into it, I started realizing maybe 3 to 6 months or whatever. No, I don't know. You would know. But very early on, I realized like I need to get the hell up out of here. I cannot do it. This is too much. And it's so weird because you need to be mindful of what you put out in the universe because it will answer from time to time, right? And so I was like, how am I going to get out of here? What can I do? I started calling some contract lawyers to see like, can I break my contract without having to pay? Like, how can I make this happen? Lo and behold, it was Labor Day weekend, and one of my co-anchor, she decided to play Living My Best Life with Snoop, and on that song it says, smile, bitch, like but to me, it's an inspirational song. Like, it's like, yes, have positive energy, living my best life. And it was my birthday weekend. She posted it on Instagram. We're in the studio having fun, singing it together. We're not on air or anything. They decided that my brand, let's just say, doesn't align with them anymore, and they decided to let me go. But do you know how happy I was at that point in my life? Like, yes, thank you, Jesus. This was free at last. Thank God Almighty. So sometimes because I was trying to figure out how I can have that conversation of like, we're not aligning. This is not working for me anymore. I've had to turn down clients and say, listen, I don't think I'm the best suited for this, project or whatever it is that you're working on. I'm more than happy to give you recommendations, but I just think between, my time and just, things aren't aligning very well. you know, I want to take a step back. And that's how I say no, you know, just figuring out the most diplomatic way to just turn somebody down. Thank you, but no thank you. It all comes with like kind of letting go of traumas. I understand that sometimes telling people no can be hard, especially if you're a people pleaser. But I've figured out a way, if it's not helping my peace of mind, that is not something that I want to be a part of. I hope that helps.